G'day viewers, welcome to another super helpful, super cool repair video from the Goat Shed, located in Newcastle, New South Wales, Australia. Today is Friday, the 23rd of February 2024. It's 27 degrees Celsius outside at the moment, which equates to approximately 80.6 degrees Fahrenheit. And it's going to be quite a warm day today. We're expecting a high of 37 Celsius, which is 98.6 Fahrenheit. So quite warm, and then it's going to cool down again over the weekend. Now, as everybody knows, we have our own Facebook group, the Goat Shed, EM Pinball Repair Specialists. And there are other pinball groups out there, but what's prompted me to do a video today on Gottlieb bonus units were a few posts that have appeared over this week in some of the different groups concerning bonus steppers, where people have actually pulled the step unit apart and forgotten to realise that they needed to reset the unit to 0 and make note of where the pins all go. Now, this is a fairly common sort of problem, I think, that people do. So if we'll advance this step unit, here we go. Now, I decide to, how would I say, remove the plate, the contact plate for cleaning of the rivets on the back. Okay, that's a pretty simple task. But what I'm omitting to do here is I'm omitting to actually reset the stepper to 0 on purpose. If I was going to reset it to 0, I'd simply click backwards here. And there it's at 0, but I'm going to advance it. There we go, it doesn't matter how many advances I do. And now we're going to take the plate off that. So simply 3 screws here. One with the feed on it, 2, and another one here is 3. Not rocket science. Now off come those screws. Now remember, this stepper is not at 0. So the whole idea of this video is to show you how to put your plate back on, or how to work it out. Alright. Now, here we have the actual plate. Now, they're the contact rivets, and then we have the, what we call them, snowshoes. Right, I mean, it was a name that seemed to have popped up, maybe because they're shaped like a snowshoe. Get that in focus there a bit, I don't know. But they have to be nice and free, moving up and down in their channel. And if you watch our videos, what you'll know that we actually take all the braiding off, take the shoes out themselves, the springs, and clean them. And if necessary, we'll either replace those snowshoes or file the top of them. They must be round. They're all pretty good. Now this stepper looks like it's been through the wars. And also remember, we've got this special tool we made, which we'll share with you at great expense, which is a block of wood with a screw hole in it. And I'm just going to have to do this off camera just for a moment. And we screw that down so that they all stand up. You'll see in a second. And there we've got all the snowshoes are up, and we can actually desolder the braid and take the shoes out just by pushing down on that. So that's just a little jig we made up. We've shown you that before, but I appreciate we have a lot of new viewers, so we do a lot of step units here, so it makes it, how would I say, more practical for us. And we put new braid on pretty well all the steppers that we do. Now, here we have this one of the, I call these an upside down stepper, because when they're bolted on under the playfield, everything's sort of up the other way. Now this particular step is like, I reckon this is off like one of the later games, so you can tell by the coil casing, it's that different style coil casing. It's the open style rather than the closed one. Not that matters greatly, but they did change them. But see this dirty big screw someone's put in here, and then they put a filthy big nut on the back. That's supposed to be a nylock nut. So and they put one on the other side, just in there too. Where is it? Let's show you. There's me spring hook there. So they've double put two nuts on there. Well, that's, you know, not really right. This is just one we use for training. See, and what that's actually done, that's really not all that parallel. It's a bit out of whack. And notice how that's sticking right up. It's not really sitting in there right. That should be sitting down in the groove. Anyway, it obviously worked when it was in a machine at some point in time. Now, that's the mechanical side of the step unit, and like this is a resetting stepper, so we've done other videos on resetting steppers. We're not going to pull it right down. You have to look at our other videos for that. But what I want to do, I'm just going to take this switch stack off here, just with the two screws, so we can see things a little bit more clearly, so you'll get an understanding of where we're coming from with this. Now I'm going to operate the plunger here to advance the stepper, and you'll see the escapement wheel advance. Away it goes. And then we get to a point where it's not advancing any further. Now, the reason is, if we can just get this right for you. There's a perfect shot. There's a cutaway here in the escapement wheel. A lot of people think there's a tooth missing. Well, there's not. They do that so that the stepper can't step any further. You see, if we reset the stepper a little bit, trying to keep that in focus for you, you can see that the drive pawl comes down. This is the drive pawl here. I ought to point out this, the drive pawl. The drive pawl comes down. clicks in underneath and goes down about half a tooth and lifts up and drives forward. Then all of a sudden it will come to that gap and it can't drive anymore. That's the last step. Whether it be 10 steps, 15 steps, 5 steps, however many, they do that on purpose. So there's nothing actually wrong there. Now, once again, all the parts, this arm here that I'm going to show you, this arm is what you call the reset arm. So this is it here. It comes down and it's got, comes all the way to the bottom there. That's the reset arm. And this is that famous shoulder screw. And this pawl here, and if I lift that up out of the road and I pull that all out of place, the stepper will go back round to 0. Now, what I want you to watch here in a moment is where that ends up, but I just want to talk a little bit more about this. I'll just push that subtract pawl back in where it belongs. So this shoulder screw here, there's two styles. There's a long one, long shoulder and short shoulder, A1059 I think, and A1058. You can get those off the Pinball Resource. It's the long shoulder if it has the subtract pawl on, and the short shoulder if it doesn't. So if you don't have that subtract pawl, it's only got a short shoulder screw. The most critically important thing here, people, is the fact that we do have a nut on the back of that, which is this one here, that nut there, and you must loosen that nut before taking it off. And even, I'll emphasise, that they get tight on there, they sort of get burred on the thread. Get yourself a little bit of WD-40, penetrating oil, machine oil, a concoction of whatever. Drop it on there, leave it sitting up for maybe 10 or 15 minutes, and then gently rock that screw off. Gently rock that nut off, I should say. Turning the screw back and forward, you know, like this. We've shown you this before. That way, with the 5/16 inch nut driver. Okay, so you don't need too many tools to fix steppers. You need a screwdriver, two nut drivers, a 5/16 inch and an 11/32. The 11/32 generally takes the big nut off the back of here. Well, where are we? I had it there, didn't I? There. But that's not the right nut, as we pointed out earlier on. So, this bracket here with a screw in it, that's the 0 position stop. Now, it's a little hard to see, but we get down in there. Let's see, what's going to be the best way? Probably there. Is the other end of it. I'm touching the other end of it. Stop comes from down, there's the screw, down there to there, and the escapement wheel will rest upon that at 0 position. Now, let's just do this. I'm just going to flip the subtract pawl up and out of the road. That's quite okay. I'm going to pull the reset arm out, which is going to pull the drive pull back. So pulling the drive pull back, and that's under spring tension. And you see this pin here. That's the pin. Well, that's the other side of the pin is resting on that 0 stop. Once again, it's a little hard to see, but there's the 0 stop again. There it is. And the pin is resting on that. Once again, I've done videos illustrating this before. It's a bit hard here. But that is the 0 position. It can't go any further, that wheel. Now that 0 position is adjustable if it gets out by loosening this screw here and moving that pivots. Right? And how you know it's right or wrong is like this. You simply pull the reset arm back, and you want the reset arm to cleanly fall underneath that tooth. That's the reset arm just here. You want it to cleanly fall back into its tooth. And it's this part, the top part. Remember, this is the drive pawl. This is the reset arm. Drive pawl here, reset arm here. So you want it to drop straight back in, which that one is. It's good. Okay? If it wasn't dropping in, you need to loosen that and either push that forward or downward, whatever direction you need to go in. Alright, but once again, we've done all the adjustments for these in other videos, so we're not going to go through every adjustment again. Okay, so we're at reset now. Now we're ready to put the actual plate back on. Let's show you how we're going to do that. When you take this spider off, it's important to note its orientation of where it goes. Now, I often say like this, you've got a part number or some sort of number there, a number there, and that's horizontal to that nut behind there. Now that's a 1/4 inch nut. So if I was to undo this spider, there's 2 Allen keys in there, take that off, I can then take that off and give it a good clean. But remember, it can only really go on one way. But remember, there's always wires on there, and I should have pointed that out. You don't unsolder the wires. No wires need to be unsoldered except on the coils. They're the only wires. Now, what we're going to do is, remember, we pulled this apart and we had no idea where 0 was. Alright, now let's look at the logic of this. Now there's 2 ways you can do this. If you're familiar with routing schematics, the schematic will show you the start position. If you're not, what you've got to do is this. You have 10 rivets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, plus 5, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So that tells me that this machine is off a machine that will give you up to, say, 15,000 bonus, or plus double bonus, which is all controlled by score motor switches and relays. So there's only 2 ways this plate can go back on. That's this plate here. Now, there's 1 pin and then there's 2 pins. And on the other side of this is the braid, which we've already spoken about. Now, those pins have to match up with the amount of counts that the step unit makes. So as I said, you always put the one with a single pin on it either on the first rivet or 1 step off. So either put it on there or 1 step off. Now you're going to know straight away by manually counting it if you're wrong, because when you get round to 15, what happens is there's a pin goes across there and there, there and there, there and there, there and there and there and there. That's the 15th position. So you don't want it to go beyond there, and you don't want it to go less than there. You want it to end on that pin, right? Does that logic make sense? Remember our philosophy. Look, listen and learn. So, let's get this here. The first pin, let's sit it here. We've screwed this back down, tightened those nuts back up. Everything's ready to go. So what we're going to do now, we're going to set this here, I've got this pin on the first rivet. You can basically see that because it's parallel to that, isn't it? But what I'm going to do, I'm just going to start it a little bit off that one because I feel that that's where this one goes. A little bit of experience tells me that. And let's find out if I'm right or wrong. So what we're going to have to do now is put that back together. So pop that on, position it roughly where you think it goes, hold that down with a bit of downward pressure, line one of those holes up. Now the screws with the washers on, they're the ones that go where the braid doesn't. Just finger tighten it. Get another one with a washer on it because the braid goes there. So there, see, no, that the washer is the little connector. We'll put that there. We'll just finger tighten that. Just like that. Now remember, we've started this one step off. See that? That's sort of one off. But how did I go? So let's step it up one. And I'm a little too far advanced. Not much. But what I'll need to do is loosen this one I tightened up. Just come back a bit. Hold that down. And screw it all back in. I'm still out a little bit. So that's pretty good. We're lined up there. And let's just advance around a bit more. Yeah, I'm happy with that. But the trick is here, did we start it in the right position? Let's just reset it. Now, let's count. So, 8, 9, 10. Well, that's a good sign. The 10th position, it's lined up with a rivet. Now, let's get under here and you can see the two others. Now, we're not on the rivet yet. We're there's no rivet under there. Let's go one more. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. See, it's on the last, it's that inside pin you're looking at. That's the last rivet. So we've set that up correctly. If we started that on the first rivet, we would be out by one. We would miss one bonus. All right, is that self-explanatory? Hopefully it is. So that's how you set them up. It's not too difficult to do. It's quite easy to do. Now, the only other thing that I didn't show you is what we normally would do with this. I'm not going to do it to this one, but we would have got our PBR grease and put a dab on each of the contacts, the brass rivets, and that's a special electrical mechanical grease, as you can read there. For step units, we get that from the pinball resource. You can see PBR grease on there, contact disc grease, and that helps the things run very smoothly. And look, let me tell you, it makes a world of difference, and particularly if you're doing a Williams stepper, they get a lot of friction on those. It makes them go really good. So I hope this little video helped you out with your steppers, and like I said, that's a result of people asking questions in the groups. Now, we find that with our philosophy, do it right, do it once. You pull that stepper right down like we give in our instructional videos, fix it all up, put it back together and adjust it. You'll never have to worry about that stepper for years and years and years to come. Never. We put new coil sleeves in, we put a new drive arm upstop in. That one was broken. I think I mentioned that, did I not? I can't recall. There's a broken part there. Let me show you. Did I mention it? Just can't remember. See, there's a bracket supposed to be there under those two screws. That's to limit the drive of the... That hits the coil plunger, and then that stop rests gently on there. And of course what happens as the coil plunger wears, come bang bang bang, and the coil stop wears inside there, that gets closer all the time and eventually breaks it off because no one bothers to adjust them, and I sort of get that, but so that has that broken part as well. Very, very, very common. I think we just bought about 10 or 15 of them. We use a lot of them. Anyway, once again, thanks very much for watching our video. We do hope you find it informative. We'll keep doing them as long as we can. Most people say we do a lot of Gottlieb ones. Well, we see more Gottlieb machines than Williams or Bally, but we're certainly sure to present to you one of those when they come in. Please consider subscribing to our channel. And I also advise you that our goat shed signs, we'll have a new shipment of those very soon. They were supposed to be here, but they're running a bit late. Never mind, can't do much about that. This has been another goat shed presentation.